What's up, guys? So, quick little video on some sequence breaks and time saves that you can do in Ocarina of Time Randomizer. Everything that I'm going to be showing is allowed in the accessible rule set, as it currently is. The reason, you might have seen the video that I made about this before. The reason that I took that video down and am making this one is because there was a trick in that called Castle Before Night, or Schrodinger's Chain, that I thought at the time was allowed, and recently it came to light that it actually is banned. So I don't want anybody to be getting misinformation, so I decided to just make a new video instead. So the first thing that I'm going to cover is all of the specific expected tricks that you can be expected to do if you turn them on in logic in the dev branch. So the first one is the man on the roof without the hookshot. And this one is really, really easy. This one, honestly, you're probably wasting time compared to almost everybody in the race if you don't do it. So just climb up this tower, and you kind of have to target this. In Ocarina of Time, you can target walls to line up with them. You see I'm like kind of facing at a bit of a skewed angle with the wall, but if I target, I line up and I'm facing it. So that you just need to do that to line yourself up here, walk all the way to the left, and then just side hop. And then you land on this fence, and then you can hold up and get the item from the man on the roof. You can actually also do this one as adult, but it's a bit trickier because of this guy who's standing here. You kind of have to shove your way past him to target the wall like that. So now I'm lined up with the wall, and if I try to side hop, I'll just talk to him. So what you need to do is just see up and look up. Now hold target, and then you're going to want to press A once to get out of see up mode, and then immediately switch to left and press A again to side hop. So it's a little bit quick, but shouldn't have too much trouble with it. And then you just come up here the exact same way. Alright, next on the list is Child Dead Hand without Kokiri Sword. Now, this isn't really a trick so much as it is just something you do, because obviously you can just beat him if you have enough sticks, but the reason that it's not in logic to do so is because it's kind of annoying. It does take 10 regular stick slashes or 5 jump slashes. And, you know, if you happen to hit him while he's not vulnerable, then you waste a stick, and, you know, most of the time you're probably going to have 10 sticks max, so it's just kind of a bit much to expect in the logic, but you can put it in logic. You can easily just beat him with Deku sticks. But what I am going to show is a way to break your stick off so that you can just use it without breaking it. So normally if you swing your stick off something, it breaks, and you have to just get another one out, and you can just waste all your sticks this way. But what you can do to kind of cheese it is, if you go up to a wall, target it to line up with it, like I showed before, backflip, and now untarget and retarget again, and then just press A without doing anything on the stick to do a neutral roll, and you roll forward, then you pull a stick, and you jump slash. And now you have a broken stick, and you can swing this as much as you want, hit it as many times as you want without it breaking, and you can just use this over and over. You can do it as a jump slash. A little bit of a time save. You can just jump slash into these, and they'll just let go of you right away, and he'll spawn. And then this should take 5 crouch stabs. You can also hit him like as he's going away like this, if you know how to time that. If not, then it's not really a big deal. But yeah, 5 of these should take care of him. Alright, next trick is the Dodongo's Cavern Spike Trap Room Jump without hover boots. So this is the spike trap room here. There's some spike traps down there. And the jump that it's talking about is the jump to get across here to the bomb bag over there. Now, normally, you would have to go around through the back rooms and do the Lizalfos fights. And the reason that this just isn't in logic by default is to get around the back, you need to shoot some eye switches. So you need either Slingshot or the bow. Really, you should always be in Dodongo's Cavern as adult. There's really never a situation where you should be making the play to come in here as child. If you want to get the best times on your seeds, which I'm going to go ahead and assume you do if you're watching a video about time saves. But the jump to over here, you kind of just have to land on that corner. It's not that hard to make just without a setup like that, but I do use a setup for it just for consistency's sake, because it is possible to fail this if you just do it. So I do recommend using a setup just so you don't have any risk of that. So what you want to do is target this wall to line up with it, and then just face right. You don't really need to, you know, shield turn or anything. It's fine. But then you just want to side hop left, and then press A without touching the stick to do a side roll, and then you want to untarget and retarget so that your angle actually changes. So what's going to happen if you just hold target is you'll just do the side roll, and the Z target locks in your angle. So you want to let go of target after doing it. And then once you're done, just target again. And then you just want to walk straight forward. You don't need to, you know, press up or right or anything here. You can just walk straight forward against this wall. And then once you get to the end, just roll. And then you should make it. Alright, next up is the Windmill Harp piece as adult with nothing. Normally you'd have to come through the Dampe race with the Song of Time to get it, or you can come in here as child with a Boomerang and grab it. But it's really easy to just grab it as adult like this. Just jump up onto the center thing and grab it. You don't need to do the side hops like that. That's just kind of the fastest way to do it when you're coming in. You can also just hop up onto this and hop up onto there. Sometimes that can be a little finicky. Sometimes your spacing is wrong and you don't get a jump, but still shouldn't have too much trouble with it. Alright, next we got the Crater's Bean Harp piece with hover boots. It's talking about this one up here. I think this is called Volcano Crater Harp piece or something like that in the spoilers. But yeah, basically you can just run across here with the hover boots and land on it. There's kind of a triangle that's made with the seams here. You can kind of see it. You know, it kind of comes down and meets at a point right there. It is a little bit difficult to see. Hopefully it's a little bit easier when you're actually playing. But just run across from here. I'm right next to the Goron City entrance. And just kind of do a couple rolls. Shouldn't have too much trouble just going up and grabbing it. Alright, Zora's Domain entry with Cucco. This one's really, really easy. Basically, this windmill is just a flat plane of collision along the front. There's not actually anything on the sides, so you just kind of come over here with the Cucco and jump off vaguely towards this, and you should just land in there. Alright, Zora's Domain entry with hover boots. Exact same idea, just as adult instead of child. There are no chickens in River, so you're going to have to use hover boots instead. But yeah, just kind of roll off the side a couple of times with a decent angle, and you should get in there. Just like that. Alright, so the only other thing on specific expected tricks is fewer tunic requirements, which I feel like there's not a whole lot that would be useful to show for that. It's just kind of having good execution in rooms that require the tunic. But for the Lens of Truth requirements, most of the time you can just kind of not use the lens as long as you just know, you know, that this wall is possible to walk through or whatever. But Lensless Wasteland is a little bit more tricky because, you know, there's a specific path you need to take and there's not really any good visual cues that aren't kind of tricky to learn. So what I do for Lensless Wasteland is I come in here to this wasteland structure. I'm halfway across the wasteland, and this is when you would normally need lens. So just come in here and target this wall to line up with it like that. And then turn to the left, and then target again. And I walk out past the wall, and I side hop once, and then I start walking backwards. And then I walk until this pole is just about lined up in the middle of my C down button, as it is here. I probably go a little tiny bit past that, but that's about the cue that I use. And then I just start side hopping right. And if you do that, then you should come to a hill that you start going up. And when you start going up this hill is when you kind of want to stop side hopping and then just turn right and go up towards the top of this hill. You don't want to go too far up the top. If you go over this seam here, you void out. So go up towards the top of this hill, but not quite the top. And when you kind of reach the peak here is when you want to turn down left. You don't want to cross over this seam, but just kind of go down here alongside of it. And then some levers should come up, and you just want to keep going forwards. And then you can see the flags over there on the right. And if you see those, you're basically home free. Just walk until you're about, you know, parallel with them. Turn towards them and just keep going. It's really not that bad. Once you practice it a couple times, you should be able to get this perfectly consistent. And then you never need lens again. Alright, so that's it for the specific expected tricks. So everything from here on out is something that is just strictly going to save you time. Nothing that you could ever be expected to do in a randomizer seed, at least as of now. But I feel like this is a good one to show as well because it can give you access to Spirit, which is another song check, another dungeon. It's pretty big, and it can give you access to Spirit out of logic. So you can actually cross across this quicksand with nothing. Normally you'd need either the Longshot or hover boots to get across there, but if you come over here to the left, you can kind of just line up along this seam here. Just go a little bit to the right of it, not too far, not too close, and then line up so that you kind of have a good line. We're going to be backwalking right across here in like a straight line down the middle of the screen, and you want to aim to be a little bit to the right of the point that forms, because you don't want to be too close to it, because you void out. The closer you are to it, the less kind of leeway you have to void out, but you don't want to be too far or else you'll fall down there. So you kind of get used to what you need. This should probably work, and then just turn around, probably do one neutral roll just so you don't sink in the sand, and then hold back to backwalk, and then just make sure to stop once you actually get out of the sand like that, because this seam here you void out if you go along it, and you definitely don't want to do that. Once you get across, though, you can just continue through the desert as normal. Alright, I want to talk about ground jumps for a little bit. Sydney has a whole video on ground jumps. It's very comprehensive and very good. I'll link to it in the description, and you should definitely watch it if you haven't. I'll show how to do a ground jump just for completeness sake. You basically just put a bomb in front of you, draw sword, and hold shield, and then press A and hold target. And that stores a ground jump for you. And you can go do something like this and skip this whole maze. And that's great, but the thing about ground jumps is they always need bombs. You can ground jump off of other damage too, but bombs are pretty much the only thing that it's feasible to get consistent at. So if you're coming through a place like this and you don't have bombs, you don't always have to go through the entire maze, because sometimes there are alternatives to ground jumps that you can do without bombs, and I think those are super, super useful to know. So for this one, come in here. You're going to want to come over here, get about as close to the ledge as you can get. You want to pretty much just line up so Link's... This line is just right in the center of Link's head like that. Turn around. So now I'm straight on with the wall, and you can see I'm about perfectly parallel with that. I'm going to angle myself very, very slightly to the left, so that when I roll forward, I jump off of here as if it's a ledge that I'm just jumping off of completely. And then when I jump, I'm going to hold upright so that I curve in the air and grab the ledge above. You can get a feel for this with a bit of practice. It's really not that bad, but that's what it looks like there. And then you can skip the maze about as easily as you can with a ground jump. It takes a little bit of extra time, but definitely useful to know in my opinion. Another ground jump that can be pretty useful to know is here in the Fire Temple. You can skip the Goron bracelet requirement to push this block by just ground jumping up it. And sometimes it's pretty rare that you'll be this far into fire without bombs, but it can happen rarely, and I think this is useful to know just in case it ever comes up. This is the kind of thing that can really give you an advantage if the people that you're racing against don't know it. So you want to have your sword out, and then jump across here and grab the ledge. And now side hop right, so you're right next to this block. And now what you want to do is do a horizontal slash, which you're going to do by pressing to the right and pressing B at the same time. And during the slash, hold shield. So it's going to look like this. And now we're just a little bit closer to the edge than we were when we grabbed it. And that does make a difference to this trick. This is fairly precise. And then once you do that, just side hop left, so you're here in this against this wall. And then turn to the right. You're going to want to go into C up. And I use the pillar on the right as a visual cue. You want to go until you can just barely see the wall on the other side of it. So about this is perfect. And then same thing as the other one, just roll and then hold up left. Or forward roll, hold forward and roll, and then hold up left so you grab the block in the air. And it's really not that bad with that setup. Another room where ground jumps can save you quite a bit of time is this block push room in Ice Cavern. But if you don't have bombs, this room can still be sped up by quite a lot. So just climb this, line up with the side, and then roll forward twice. Let go of stick and hold A, so you just fall down right away. And then 2 side hops right, side roll and retarget to get this angle. Then you're going to want to do 2 side hops right, and then walk back right and back. And then during that back walk, you want to let go of target and hold forward, and you should grab the ledge. Kind of like that. That was pretty sloppy. I only did 1 side roll, or 1 side hop, and it still worked, so shouldn't be too much trouble. And now you're going to want to come in here to the right side of this crystal, kind of line up with it there, jump slash, and you should just grab that rupee. And then run out here towards this rupee down here. You can put away your sword if you want there. Backflip on there to get it. And then come down here, line up with the side of this, turn to the right, 4 side hops, and then just hold up right after that, and you should grab that. Don't get frozen if you can help it. If you need blue fire, now's a good time to grab it. You're going to want 2 coming from here, 1 for the ice on the way to the chest, and then 1 for King Zora on the way out. At least most of the time. Sometimes you will have already thawed King Zora, but that's fairly rare, I think. Anyway, once you do that, you want to come over here, climb up onto here, and you can just make this jump, and then that should open the door. After that, you want to come down here, kill the bats if they're getting in your way. Should be fine most of the time. But put away your sword, and you want to line up with this wall here and get in the corner. And then you're going to side hop left and then right, and do a side roll, and then let go of target, so like this. And now I'm facing here, and now I'm going to do 1 crouch stab. So I stab the wall, and now I'm going to do a backflip. Wait for me to stop sliding, put away my sword, and now this is the easiest part. Just side hop right and hold up. And then you should grab this ledge. Those are pretty advanced strats, but like everything else in the video, learning them can give you a pretty big edge over somebody who doesn't know how to do them, especially if you're forced to come in here without bombs. Ground jumps do speed this room up quite a bit, but it's pretty fast with those strats too if you get them right away, certainly compared to actually pushing the block around. So yeah, those are pretty fun to practice in my opinion as well, so you know, maybe if you get some free time, you can just learn them. Alright, one of the most useful ground jumps to know is B1 Skip here. It skips having to go around the back of the Deku tree and shooting an ice switch with the Slingshot. Not only is that slow, but it needs the Slingshot, and it's the only thing in Deku tree that does, and we want to avoid that if we can, because playing Deku tree early is usually a pretty good idea. 7 items. That's pretty hard to pass up when it's pretty much entirely open with nothing. There are a couple ways to just land up here straight from falling down the hole. That's not useful for Randomizer, though, because of this chest over here. It's very rare that you would be in Deku tree without wanting to full clear it, so you wouldn't want to skip this chest if you can help it. But thankfully, there are a few different ways that you can just get up here from down here. The easiest one, though, by far, is to just come over here. You can see there's a seam in the wall right here, and you want to come to the left of it and then target this wall to line up. If you roll against it and you don't move at all, then you're lined up. And then walk to the right of the seam, and then roll a couple of more times, so now you're just in the corner. And now you can see that if I roll, I don't move. Now if I do a backflip, and a backflip, and a side hop right, and a side hop left, now I'm in position. And that's good. You definitely don't want to rush the backflips and the side hops, because it's really easy to move in between them. So just take it slow, and make sure you're in the right spot. Now you want to come over here. You can see this gray root up along here, and there's kind of a lighter gray line that kind of sticks out in the middle of it. You want to line that up so it's just under the left side of your B button. Like, this is pretty much perfect. This, or like right there. It's not too precise, but if you want to make sure you're in the right position, there's also this kind of backwards C-shaped texture in the wall right here. And if you're in the right spot, then this should be in between your B button and your A button. So as long as you see that, then you're good. Now you want to untarget, or get out of C up, target, and press A to do a neutral roll. And then you're going to need to input full up on the analog stick and press A at the same time. And that can be kind of tricky. So what you can do to make it really easy is pause, hold up during the pause, and then when you unpause and the game is frozen for a second, press A during that, and you'll do the roll as soon as the game starts back up with the full up input as well. So that's really easy. Just unpause, A, and then you should get up here. Now, once you're up here, in order to burn this web, what you can do is push this block down and light the torch over there. That is pretty slow. So what you can also do is just come over here, angle yourself a little bit to the left, like this is probably going to work. Come over here into this corner, and then backflip and slash with the stick. And then you just roll along there. That can be a little bit tricky. The angle is slightly precise, but you basically just want to backflip and slash. Really not that bad. Alright, so say you did B1 Skip and you want to kill Gohma with the Slingshot. If you don't know how to do that, then I will show it here, but pretty much the main reason I'm going to show it is as a backdrop for me to say, Dotso has a video on all the boss quick kills. It has the bosses of all the dungeons, and I believe it also has Ganondorf and Ganon. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. Bosses are some of the things in this game that can take the most time if you don't know how to do them optimally. And definitely check that out if you are wondering on how to do any of the bosses. Alright, here in the graveyard, there's actually a way to grab the heart piece in the crate that you normally need a bean for with just the Boomerang. And this is one of my favorite sequence breaks. I don't know why I like it so much. It's just fun. But you're going to want to come up here on this fence, walk very slowly to the left until about, you want the wall to be about lined up in the middle of Link's head like this. This should be fine. Maybe slightly more to the left. This is perfect here. So now take out the Boomerang. And I'm holding Boomerang so I don't just throw it immediately. And now I want to look up. And I want to line up just about so Link's head is overlapping kind of the hedges that you can see under the windmill there. So this is good. This isn't too precise at all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the Boomerang, and then I'm going to side hop right 3 times, and then backflip twice. And then the heart piece should come down. Note that you don't need to hold target in order to do the side hops and backflips, because when the Boomerang is in the air, you're kind of locked into a targeted state. And if you do press target, you could screw up the Boomerang angle, so it's just safer not to touch target here at all. But yeah, throw it, side hop right 3 times, backflip twice, and there it is. Alright, Mido Skip. This is actually one of the most useful things you can know. This can save you from all dungeons actually pretty often. This skips needing Saria's song to get to the forest. So I'm coming here from Goron City. Obviously this still works if you come from somewhere else, but just kind of go through here to the screen where Mido is, and you want to kind of push up against this wall, and you want to aim for your angle to be just about so Link's head is like right in the center of this, the left side of this this entranceway over here. It's not too precise, but once you get through there, Z target so that you keep your angle. Back walk here into this corner. Make sure you don't accidentally talk to him. But now take your hookshot out if you have one. Look up and hold Z, and then just start mashing A, and you should get through him with not too much trouble. If you don't have a hookshot, then it's a little bit trickier, but not too much. So same thing, just come through here, line up that angle with the left side of that entranceway. Come over here. If you side hop over to him, it's really easy to accidentally talk, so be aware of that. Back walk into this corner. C up works pretty well, the same. Just kind of C up, hold down, and hold Z, and then double tap A. And you should get over him. If that doesn't work, if you have the hookshot, you can just mash A, and that works. For C up, you can't mash A because you'll just talk to him. So for C up, you kind of just have to double tap A, and then if you don't get over him, just try it again. But the way to... It's kind of slow if you kind of mess up your angle. If you don't get your angle coming in, and you have to get your angle, then you can just come over here, target the wall, and then turn to the right. And then you want to do 1 frame of S position to the right. If you don't know what that is, then you can also just kind of look at this screen and just find a visual cue that you like. A lot of people, I think, use the hilt of the sword or the A button. Either way, should find something that works, and then you should get over them just as easy. It's really not too bad of a trick. The angle isn't too precise at all, and this will give you access to Minuet and Forest Temple. It can definitely save you from all dungeons. Definitely has in the past for a lot of people in a lot of races. Super useful to know. Alright, here in the East Courtyard in the Forest Temple, this is the one that's locked by the bow switch. So the switch to drain the well is up here in this corner. Normally the way to get to that is through the West Courtyard or with the Longshot up to these vines. But you can actually get up there with the Hookshot as well. It's just a bit too precise for the logic to expect. You want to line up here with the third line from the left from the corner between the bricks and the texture. So here's the first one. There's the second, and then here's the third. So you get over here, backflip, shield flick, or retarget so you can neutral roll, and then take out the Hookshot, look all the way up, and then just Hookshot and hold up to grab the vines. And then you can climb up here to the well switch, hit it to drain the well and grab the chest. And then you can actually Hookshot over here and get the map chest while you're over here as well. So really, if you do this, there's no reason to go to the west courtyard except to get the floor master chest. And also, I'll just mention really quick, if you can't get up to the well switch, you can also grab the well chest by using Iron Boots and the Hookshot. In the block push room in the Forest Temple, most people know that it can be required of you to use the hover boots to get to the alcove that leads to the west side courtyard. Something that most people just learn early on, get tripped up by it, and then they don't forget it anymore. But something that maybe most people don't know, I don't know, is that it's actually not in logic to use the hover boots unless you can push the blocks. If you can't push the blocks, you can actually still make this from here, but it's not in logic because it's a little bit too precise, but you don't really need to set up for it or anything. Just make sure you roll off just for your speed, and you can just make that pretty easily. That's not in logic. It is probably slightly too precise to be in logic. But yeah, you can get over there with the hover boots even if you don't have the Goron bracelet. And you can logically skip it that way. Something else that people might not know about this jump is that it's also possible to make without hover boots. You have to do it from up here, and you need the Goron bracelet to get up here. So you can only skip either the hover boots or the Goron bracelet for this jump, not both. And I'll show this bit of tech first as well. So if I'm targeting and I hold down very slightly, so I'm walking backwards, and then I press A to roll, I do this side roll, and I'm at this off-kilter angle. It's almost 90 degrees, but not quite, from the way I was facing originally. And that's what I'm going to be doing here. So just get in this corner, turn around, and then do that. Hold down very slightly, roll, and then untarget. So you can see I'm here at this slightly off-kilter angle. Side hop right, and then I'm pretty much just facing the alcove here. So I just need to hold up and do a roll off this ledge, and then when I'm almost down to the ledge, slash the sword. There's about a 4 or 5 frame window to do that, so it's really not too bad. And just like this. Easy. Alright, so in Fire Temple, it's pretty well known. It's one of the first things that you're going to learn playing Randomizer, that sometimes Volvagia can have the key that you need to get further into Fire Temple, and that means you need the hover boots to get across here, because you can't make the jump. And you need to beat Volvagia early in order to get into the rest of the temple. And that is true, but you can pretty easily make this jump anyway without the hover boots. You need to go from down here, and you need to be standing up against this wall. It has something to do with how OoT handles walls. Basically, if you're standing next to a wall, you kind of retain some of the properties of it, even on other walls. It's a really complicated thing that I don't think anybody really fully understands, and it was only really found fairly recently, or at least the mechanics of why this jump works for. Anyway, basically you want to get up as close to this wall as you can and just roll off here and jump. And you should grab it with not too much trouble. Then you can just go and beat Volvagia. This can save a ton of time in case the hover boots are somewhere bad. Alright, still in fire. Here in the fire maze, if you come over here, you know, this entire side is blocked off. It's actually locked by a key. It's because you have to go through the other side there and past the locked up Goron. You can also hover to this and get through with the hammer, but basically you can just freely get over to this side by coming over here, target this wall, turn to the right, and just roll. It's really that easy. And then you can, now that you're on the other side of the fire, you can just go to that switch and hit it. But a little bit of a time save that you can also do is come over here, skip this wall in the exact same way, and then go up here, and then just get hit by this firewall, and then just backflip up there. It's really not that bad at all. Alright, so yet another small time save in fire. If you're up here by the hammer chest, you just opened it. The only other thing you have to check is that topmost Goron. You can just side hop down here, and then you're gonna land right next to the door that you would have normally come in, and you can just jump across here. Now once you're here, whether you get here with the side hop or actually coming through that door, you can actually hit this switch without the Song of Time. This is in my opinion, one of the most useful things you could possibly know because it's so easy and, you know, it skips a song requirement. This can save you from an all-dungeon seed. This can be a huge thing to know, and it's so easy. All you have to do is just get your hammer out, stand anywhere in this vicinity, and just jump slash, and you hit the switch. So easy. Can make or break a seed knowing that skip, and then you just come down here, grab your chest from the Goron. Super, super important to know. Coming into Water Temple, there are a few things that can save you some time that are all relevant in the first couple of minutes of being in Water Temple, so I'm just going to show from the beginning here. First of all, if you jump in the water, if you're targeting and holding a direction as you jump in the water, and then you put on your iron boots, as long as you keep targeting and holding a direction, you can swim with the boots on. This is really, really easy and can save a lot of time because falling with the iron boots is pretty slow. You can just kind of swim through this entire corridor and come in through here and then just kind of land, take off the iron boots and float up to the top. Now, once you get up here, there's a chest at the top that you can grab. But there's also a chest here on this middle level. Now, normally you would have to have the water on the middle level in order to do that, but you don't actually need that. And there are 3 different ways to get the chest down there on the middle level early. So let's say you go in here, you grab your chest, and then you come back out. One of the ways that you can do this is with a bomb chew. So if I take out a bomb chew, and I'm kind of facing away from the door, I'm going to pull the bomb chew, and I'm going to wait for the 4th red flash, and then I'm going to drop it. And this should blow up the wall. And then you can go down there with the hover boots, or the iron boots, and the hookshot. And that's, you obviously have the iron boots and the hookshot if you're inside Water Temple, or at least you probably do. Hookshot for sure, iron boots you can skip. But yeah, with the hookshot and the iron boots, you can do that trick where you hookshot the chest to open it. But that's not really ever necessary, and it does take a little bit longer than the 2 things that I'm about to show. So what you can do instead is lower the water first. Once the water is lowered, you have 2 different options of getting down there. One of them is much easier but requires an item. So the easy way is using the hover boots. All you need to do is walk out onto the gap and side hop, and then that'll just put you down here next to it. The other thing to do if you don't have the hover boots would be to just come up here. You're going to do what's called a gainer, and this is the only time it's actually useful in the game, as far as anybody's found so far. But basically, if you are side hopping or backflipping and you target a wall during it, it redirects your momentum to be in towards the wall. So we're going to side hop down here and then target the wall, so it redirects our momentum this way, and we land down next to the cracked wall. So there is a bit of a setup for doing that. You just target this wall, turn around, side hop, side roll. Now you have your angle. Now just backflip, and then you can just do it from here. Now the catch is that in order to target a wall during a side hop, you need to do what's called an untargeted side hop, which is letting go of Z and pressing A on the same frame. So you can pretty easily buffer this. So just, I'm holding Z and then I pause. And then when I pause, you know, you probably are going to want to get bombs out for this anyways. Maybe bow if you need to, for the bow chest down below, or dins if that's how you're doing that. And then just during the pause, just hold left, and then in unpause lag, press A, just like for B1 Skip. And then target the wall as you're falling, and then you should just land down here. Another couple of time saves in the Water Temple. I'm here on the bottom level north side entrance from the main room where the boss key is. It's supposed to long shot over to that target, but you can just skip it with a backwalk and a backflip with the hover boots. You can actually do a forward walk and a backflip too. Personal preference as to which you prefer. I definitely like the backwalk more, but that can be viable as well. But the real big time save is in the next room. You can actually skip the entire back half with a big block push puzzle, and it's you definitely want to skip that because that takes a really long time. So once you get out to this room, you're going to want to do a side hop left, side roll, and retarget. Side hop right twice and left once. Same thing, retarget. So now you have your angle. And now just kind of walk up to this edge. This should be good. And then just roll off the side. You should grab. And if you do it in good enough time, you can beat the boulder. You can also use the hover boots to just run over here, and you don't need the setup. It's definitely possible to make without the setup, but the setup just makes it a little bit more consistent. And then you can actually just jump down here, and you don't even need to equip the iron boots to get down here. You can just kind of jump down and, well, not if you get hit by the boulder, but you can kind of just jump down here and swim under without the need for the hover boots at all. And then you just swim right up to here, and the boss key chest is through that door. Alright, if you're here in Gerudo Valley and you want to cross this bridge to get into GTG or get over to Spirit through the Wasteland, normally the only ways to cross this bridge are with Epona or the Longshot. If all you have is a Hookshot, you can actually still do it using a trick called Hookshot Extension. And it's a little bit tricky, but I'll explain it as best I can. Basically, you want to come over here, target this wall, so you line up with it, and then walk. So you're kind of towards the middle of this fence post. Basically, the goal is to just get into the corner between the fence post and the wall here. Once you're here, side hop right 3 times. And then either retarget or shield flick to do a neutral roll onto this little post here. And now use your shield to turn 90 degrees to the right. And now you're going to want to do 3 shield scoots. And what that is while holding shield, hold forward, and then let go of shield for, I think, 3 frames. Basically, a very short amount of time, but not so short that you don't move at all. So you don't want to do that. You want to do that. That's 1 shield scoot. That's 2, and that's 3. So this is where we want to be right here. If you fall, that's a pretty big time loss. So this is pretty risky to go for if you haven't put in quite a bit of practice to it. But what you want to do here is take out your Hookshot, and now hold up. And when you hold up, press A, and then Hookshot again. And then hold down Hookshot. So you want to put away your Hookshot and then take it out again, and make sure to be holding up the entire time. And it's going to look something like this. I don't think that was it. Might have been. Okay, yeah, it was. So that's what you want. That's what you want. That usually it kind of sounds a little bit different. There's a couple of different ways that it can go, but that's what we want. So then if you aim straight up and down, don't aim left or right because you want to keep your angle here. But if you aim up and down, you should see the red dot. If I didn't do the pressing A and then Hookshot thing, I wouldn't be able to see the red dot here because it wouldn't be able to reach. Basically, it makes Link's arm hold out a little bit further, and that's what Hookshot Extension is. So you want to put the red dot right around here. My cue is the kind of light brown circle. I put it on the bottom left corner, but don't move left or right at all, just up and down. And when you do that, just let go. You just grab onto it and hold up to grab the ledge, and you can get across here. Fair warning, this is pretty much never a good play. If you have access to Epona, you probably want to get Epona so you can check horseback archery while you do this. And, you know, Gerudo Training Grounds is so rarely pays out anyway. You know, you probably wouldn't want to rush it with this, but, you know, maybe if you find a hint that says that, you know, if Longshot is in there or something, and Longshot is your go mode item and you don't want to go get Epona, there are situations where it can come in handy. But, yeah, definitely a good trick to have in your arsenal either way. Here's something that's pretty useful to know in Gerudo Training Grounds. This completely skips the hammer. This is the only chest in here that requires hammer at all. And, you know, it can save you a double dip. It can make you full clear on your first dip when you might not have been able to do that, which can definitely save some time in certain seeds. All you need to do is just run into this fire and then just roll into the chest and kind of mash A. You might not get it on your first try every time. It is a little bit finicky, a little bit hit or miss, but you should be able to get it without too much trouble. It's really no more complicated than just rolling into it with invincibility frames. For the boss key chest in Spirit Temple, this is even easier than the Gerudo Training Grounds one. All you have to do is walk into this guy on your way here and just grab the chest. It's really that simple. It's way easier than the Gerudo Training Grounds one. Just take damage from the slug on the way and just grab the chest. You will take damage from the fire, so if you're low health, be aware of that. But yeah, definitely a bit of a time save. It can even save you some item requirements in there too. Alright, to end the video off, I'm going to show something you can pretty easily do to save yourself a minute or two on the Ganon fight. So Ganon is going to take, when I walk into this, a cutscene is going to start, and then I'm going to lose my Master Sword for the first phase of Ganon. But if I have the hammer, what I can do is, it's possible to crouch stab with the hammer like this, and it works just like any other crouch stab. It just uses the damage value of the last damage that I did. So if before I go into the fight, I slash my Master Sword, then you can do a crouch stab with the hammer to do Master Sword jump slash damage. Just kind of roll in between his legs here. Hit him 3 times. And that should end the first phase. Then for the second phase, you should be able to pick up the Master Sword and just hit him 5 times with jump slashes, including the first hit you get on him to kind of start the second phase here. And that's pretty much the fastest Ganon fight that you could have. If done optimally. If you have the hammer, you're definitely going to want to do that. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. If there's any questions that you have about something in particular that I said in this video, about a way that I explained something, feel free to ping me in the Discord. I'll have a link to the community Discord in the description. And if you have any questions about any of the strats that I went over, then definitely just ask in there. There are a lot of people in there who are super knowledgeable and super willing to help people learn new things. I'm definitely one of them, at least willing. There's definitely a lot of people that are way more knowledgeable than I am, but I hope you learned something. I hope that the stuff in this video is going to help you out in your randomizer career. And other than that, have a good one.